Hi, I'm Glenn Simpson, and I've collected comics for over 40 years, and I'm showing off my collection one box at a time. Today, we're looking at box number 18. We're going to finish up the Avengers. We're going to do some other A's. We're going to finish up the A's, and we're going to get into some Batgirl. So please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know how it's going. If there's anything you'd like to see that's inside the packs that I show, I'm more than happy to do a special video on that. And it's a beautiful day. So let's roll. All right, so we're picking up where we left off. We've got Avengers West Coast number 81. John Walker, U.S. Agent, going at it. Operation Galactic Storm, Part 9. Then we've got Spider-Man guest starring with the rest of the West Coast Avengers, including the new Spider-Woman's origin against the Death Web. Let's see. Sorry. That story continues in Avengers West Coast 85. Spider-Man not faring so well against the big-ass spider dude who's a member of the Death Web. Then we jump to 88. Wolverine guest starring. This guy right here cracks me up. It's like, we're going to make you a cybernetic individual, but your hair is going to be fabulous. Just always crack me up. And it completely played straight. Nobody comments on, wait, you kept his hair? What's the deal? We've got everybody's buddy Ultron in Avengers West Coast 89. If you're an Ultron fan, be sure to pick up that issue. And then in issue 93, we've got the return of the Pacific Overlords. We've got Darkhawk. We've got all the biggies here in Avengers West Coast 93. And we've got a big boy book. Avengers 94. This is, I think, the first use of the name, either the first use of the name War Machine, or it's when the first time that Rhodey joins the Avengers as War Machine. There's something going on here. So that is a key book, as they say. We don't worry too much about key books here at Glenn Simpson's Comics, but we do like to note them. Avengers West Coast number 95. Darkhawk still hanging out. He better get home to his mother. She's missing him. Avengers West Coast 99 versus the Lethal Legion, including the Hangman. Hawkeye not looking too good there. Then we've got what may be hard to see. We've got a cover for Avengers West Coast. It's an anniversary issue. Avengers West Coast number 100. Only in comics do you use the word anniversary to refer to a big round number. But anyway, we've got Mephisto lashing out at the West Coast Avengers there. Then the series ends, bloop, with 102. As Cap and the other Avengers show up to go, hey, we're shutting you down. You suck. Get out. And shutting down the West Coast Avengers. And we've got some annuals. So again, this picks up where the annuals became Avengers West Coast as opposed to West Coast Avengers. And so that was issue 5. That was part of the Terminus Factor series of annuals for that year. That goes through issue 8, which was the year that they introduced new characters in every annual. And in this case, it was Raptor. I don't know that we've seen Raptor since then. Raptor. We have Avengers World, part of the Jonathan Hickman Avengers run. Just kind of a anthology of various Avengers and things, storylines that were part of his world of Avengers. And we got issue 1 here, John Cassidy cover. We've got issue 4, the new Star Brand, the new regular, 616 universe Star Brand, having some adventures here, going to his class reunion, not looking real good. Everybody gets nervous about class reunions. We go to Avengers World number 5 with Eden, the teleporting dude who hangs out with the Avengers somewhat more than he does the X-Men, even though I think he's a mutant. And right there. And we've got Avengers World number 9, having some good times with Cannonball and Sunspot from the New Mutants. That guy looks familiar. And they're off in space, having space adventures and continuing their friend bond. We've got Avengers World number 10, Iron Man up against some dude and fighting it out right there. And we get into the Axis crossover, where Doom is forming his own Avengers, which is sort of timely given the current One World Under Doom storyline going on at the time of this recording. Getting some help from Valeria in picking out his team. And we go to... that team gets formed. It includes Stingray with his cool costume. And we are following Doom's finger. Wherever Doom's finger goes, so shall we. Got Bloodstone for those Bloodstone collectors. Got John Walker there. You're into that. And then we get into, we're about to go into the Secret Wars. So the series ends with issue 21. We got Namor in battle with Thanos right there. And the next series is Avengers X-Sanction, kind of a Cable versus the Avengers storyline. And I think, this is not the one I have the variant on. This is the A cover, Cable versus Cap. And when you get to issue 4, things have gone really crazy with Cable there. And he is completely cyborged out. And he is fighting some more Avengers, Wolverine and Spider-Man in his black suit. Now, as we get into the next series, let me grab something from the big boy box. Almost forgot. Didn't forget this time. All right, so we're not there yet. We've got Avenging Spider-Man number 1. So Spider-Man teaming up with various Avengers now that he is an Avenger in Avenging Spider-Man number 1. And we jump to issue 8 of Avenging Spider-Man, part of the Ends of the Earth storyline. Silver Sable, Doctor Strange, and then of course we have the momentous dramatic big boy book, issue 9 of Avenging Spider-Man. First Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. She had been Ms. Marvel for years and years, and she decides to take on the name herself. So, and that actually, the first appearance of that is in Avenging Spider-Man number 9. So that's that. Oops. And then we pick back up with issue 10 of that story, with them fighting some really big chick here in Avenging Spider-Man number 10. And then somewhere in between there, by the time we get to Avenging Spider-Man 16, we reach that Superior Spider-Man period where it's actually Doc Ock in Peter Parker's body. So he is teaming up with the X-Men right here. We got a .1 issue right to there of Avenging Spider-Man, with, I think I recall it being just sort of Doc Ock reflecting on his entire history with Spider-Man there. And then we've got number 17, Superior Spider-Man teaming up with the hilarious Future Foundation, all the kids that are being mentored by the Fantastic Four, including the Mole Man's Gobloids, whatever their name is, and just some those are always some funny characters. Then 22, we've got the he's superior because he's got claws, and he is going up against the Punisher here. So if you want to imagine Doc Ock as Spider-Man going up against the Punisher, there you go. Avenging Spider-Man 22. And that is the last issue of that. There was an annual where regular Spidey teams up with the Thing, the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing right there. Then the next thing I've got is AvsX Consequences. I think get into these. Some of these you don't know whether they're spelling out Avengers, and we're just roll with it. This is actually, I think, second printing. Somehow I missed getting this the first time, and by the time I realized it, I had to get the second printing, but that's fine too. So that's the second printing variant of AvsX Consequences number 1, and that goes through issue number 5 of that. We've got Avengers versus the X-Men, that series right there. Trying to make sure. I think this is the actual series where they are fighting. No, that was the other one. I don't know. I think this is another AvsX or something. Now I'm losing my mind. I don't know what this is. But anyway, it's Avengers and it's X-Men and it's a limited series, and there you go. And that goes through issue 6, and there's cover to 6. Usually I'm pretty good about remembering these things, and I'm just drawing a blank on that one. There were so many of those series at that time. We've got the more recent Avengers X-Men Eternals Judgment Day. The Eternals return to Earth and are going to judge humans and decide if we should still be here, and that kind of thing. And the X-Men get tied into it because they're technically deviants and all that kind of stuff. So we've got issue 1 of the main series that goes through issue 6, which has an unfortunate fingerprint on it, which is sort of funny given the thumbs down there. So thumbs down to the fingerprint. Let's see, we got some one shots and things from that. We've got Death to the Mutants right there. I'm gonna focus. There we go. Death to the Mutants. We've got more Death to the Mutants with Emma Frost and her abs right there. We've got kind of a bunch of other one-shots, just a couple of them here on the surface here. We've got the Avengers one-shot right there with Tony on the front. We've got this beauty, the X-Men corresponding one-shot with Jean on the cover. Looking good. So we're out of Avengers, and this things that start with the word Axis. We've got Axis Hobgoblin, issue 1, little mini-series Hobgoblin. I think they could have done the mini-series and just not mentioned the I think that was just an excuse, but Hobgoblin right there, going through issue 3 of Axis Hobgoblin right there. And we go back to something that is kind of tied into the series. This is Axis Revolutions. This is again all about the the motivations of the various heroes and villains flopping for a while. That's how you end up with Superior Iron Man. And that issue runs through issue 4. Right there. Alright, so what collection can't, you know, when you get to the A's and you're at the end of the A's, you gotta have some Azrael. I don't have a complete collection of Azrael. I'm working on that, but let's see what I got here. I believe that's issue 1. Right there, Jean-Paul Vallée, former replacement Batman, having adventures on his own. Issue 4. Right there, Barry Kitson art. I got issue 5. Ra's al Ghul. Hey, if Batman won't marry my daughter, how about the replacement Batman? Right there. Got issue 8. Kind of some savagery going on. Azrael. We got issue 9. Busted. We've got the Azrael number 16, the Batman family contagion crossover disease rolling around in Gotham City and trying to find the cure. A little jump to issue 17, right there, of Azrael. And we got issue 24, beauty shot of Azrael. We got 25, continuing the fall of Saint Dumas. These guys are always funny. Let's see. That rolls through. Then we go through 32. Just another beauty shot of Azrael there. You're just into what Azrael looks like. There's lots of good covers for that. Got 33. A little change in costume for Azrael. Denny O'Neil, classic DC writer, doing all this. We go to 40. Azrael is taking part in the big earthquake storyline in Gotham City and fighting Bane. Go to 41. Right there, Azrael cutting through, fighting pirates. Azrael doesn't like pirates. And 45. Azrael going up against Deathstroke. Deathstroke in his sort of all black. This makes much more sense than the orange and whatnot costume. Let's see. Got Azrael 46. Fighting a big dude. Too big for him to be fighting. And issue 50, newer costume Azrael in No Man's Land, the post-earthquake Gotham City. We got 56 of No Man's Land, Azrael along with the new Batgirl. More on that in a bit. And hang on, sorry. Make sure that doesn't slide. And a little jump again. I gotta get some more, pick up some more. These are dollar box books, really. So just when I find them, I find them. Azrael, Agent of the Bat, also change in title a couple of issues ago. 65. He's the Agent of the Bat, but they seem to be having some management differences. There, that goes through 68. Oh no! New Azrael versus old Azrael. Who will win? Okay. 72 issue of Azrael, Agent of the Bat. I did not break out Azrael and Azrael, Agent of the Bat. I'd have to look at the indicia, but even I don't care. It's not that bad. just keeping all the numbering together. Okay, Azrael 77 versus a toxic dude. And Azrael 80 underwater fighting alligators. We got Azrael, Agent of the Bat, number 81. What? Azrael about to get surgically opened up. And then Azrael, Agent of the Bat. Uh-oh, is that Negan? No, it's not Negan. I'm just kidding. That. Would Negan be considered a Batman? Azrael, Agent of the Bat, hard to read, 85. That month that all of the series, DC series, the title, the logo was replaced by just something to do with the positioning of the scene. Alright. Goes through number 92 for a series that nobody really cares about. I mean, this hung in there, man. This was a Bat series. We don't see much of Azrael these days, but I mean he had a long series. So he was on 92 right there. Ooh, earthquake. Okay, sorry. Azrael, Agent of the Bat, 93. Going back to church. Azrael, or Agent of the Bat, 96. Going up against Two-Face, Mike Zeck, and Jerry Ordway cover. That's a combo that you don't see often. We got Azrael, Agent of the Bat, 97, in his all-white suit for camouflage in the snow. And 100. It went a full 100 issues with Azrael, Agent of the Bat. And he's still around. This was, of course, during the time when the 1 million issues came out. So we have Azrael 1 million. So he is, a version of him is still around in the 853rd century or whatever it was. He had some annuals. The year 1 annual, going back and telling an early story of, I don't think this is a Jean Paul early story. I think it's a previous Azrael story. He has a Pulp Heroes annual, number 3, right there. Beautiful painted covers on those. Very lifelike, early kind of Alex Ross kind of stuff. We've got a mini-series, Azrael, Death's Dark Knight, like a different guy as Azrael, if I recall correctly. And I think they eventually went back to Jean Paul, but he had his 3-part series, which included an issue that was part of the battle for the cowl when everybody thought Batman was dead and they were trying to decide who was going to be the new Batman. Got Ra's al Ghul in there. And there was also, DC did a small run of specials called So and So Plus, so that were team up books. And so Azrael plus The Question, which of course Denny O'Neil had brought written the Question series for DC, so that made sense. And so you've got a team up there. So for your Question fans, you're going to want to look for Azrael plus. All right, and then we get into Badger. So this is Badger number 1 from Image. And I picked this up in a dollar box at some point. I'm kind of interested in Badger, but I haven't ventured into getting, you know, beyond just the odd issue. Well, I only have one, but I like the way he looks, and I think it's a pretty fun character. Just haven't spent the money to get more Badger, but he's crazy, and he has adventures, and he's nuts. He's the Badger. Got Badrock and Wolverine, also from Image. You know, these little Marvel DC crossovers. So that's usually somewhat how I dabble in non-DC Marvel characters, is I pick up the crossovers, and that just kind of gives me a taste of what the characters are like at the other company. Got Sauron. Not that Sauron, the other Sauron. We've got Balder the Brave, classic 80s series. Walt Simonson telling the story of Thor's brother / pal Balder. Right there. That's I guess that's a big boy book because it's the first appearance of Balder in a solo book. Switching over to, we got issue 2, and that goes through issue 4. Ruby, Walt Simonson artwork on all of that. All right, folks, this is your warning. We are now officially entering the Bat Zone. And so we begin with Batgirl number 1, the Cassandra Cain series, sensational first issue. So I was never fond of the art on this, but if you like really stylized art, then this may be your jam. And this is the sensational first issue. Let's see. We've got issues 2. Please help me not to die. I say that a lot. Through issue 5. Kind of reflecting back on her 2 fathers, as it were. Go to issue 6. Wait, just a reminder for everybody, they don't mention it that much anymore, but the quirk about Cassandra Cain was that as a little girl, she wasn't taught to read or speak. They used that entire brain power to learn how to fight and kill. So she does not know how to read, and so things, this is some, you know, that could become a plot device. That was still a plot device back in these days. So that's number 6, and then this big thick plat pack takes us all the way through 13. Making sure we're in focus. She's punching a cop, as you do. We go to issue 14, A Night Alone. She's on the run. And we got that through 17. Bad guys. But Batgirl's ready for them. Got issue 18 with Robin guest starring in this issue. And that goes through extra sized issue number 25 with a little bit of convenient torn costume there. Got to boost those sales somehow. So Batgirl 25. We got Batgirl 26, featuring an appearance by the Spoiler, who would of course also she would become a Robin, and she would become another Batgirl, and she and Cass would become Batgirls together, and that kind of thing. So this is an early, if you're a fan of the Batgirls series, you might want to pick up this Batgirl 26. And issue 33 with Batgirl socking it to her biological dad there. Orange is the new black and blue. Let's see, 34. Solving a mystery with the Batman. Every girl's dream. Then we go to 41, where the artwork, the cover art anyway, gets even weirder. And she starts teaming up with the Superboy, the Connell clone Superboy. They start having an on again, off again, will they, won't they kind of romance. We got issue 42. And she's fighting not Dr. Poison, but somebody like that, Dr. Toxin or something. He's a poison guy. And we've got issue 45, where it's suggested that she might be wearing the classic Batgirl suit there and kicking a guy in the face. And we got issue 46. How are we doing on focus? Having a reflection on her good nature versus her worst nature. And issue 49. Woo! Whoa! Whoa! Okay, we good? We're good. Okay. Got Batgirl 49 right there. The end of everything, but it really wasn't, because we've got issue 50. Uh-oh, Batgirl versus Batman. What could cause that to happen? And why are the colors so weird? Then we go to... Remember I mentioned that Spoiler becomes a Batgirl? There's Robin. There she is. So, and it looks like they're going to be dealing with the Penguin. There. And then we'll go to 54. Batgirl versus some sort of digital person. And we go to 57. War Games. So that is Spoiler / Robin releases some information. Okay, what was it? Something about gives a bunch of criminals information on each other. It was something that Batman had thought about doing, but had never gone through with it, and so she thought it would be a good idea, and she did it, and she winds up getting killed, but she gets better. So that's 57. Part of War Games. 58. Right there, Fresh Blood. New writer, new artist. Fresh blood in more ways than one. 61. Right there. Getting into fights. There. Got 62. Kind of remembering Spoiler there. She's in her dreams. Batgirl 65. Another showdown with her biological father. There. Got issue 66. She's on a heading down the road. Got a big pig dude who's her buddy. Kind of a half-orc sort of friend. And the series ends with issue number 73. She's having it out with her mom, Lady Shiva. Now then, along the way, she has an annual. This was the year that all of the DC annuals introduced a new international character. So this is Aruna, right there. Don't know that we've seen her since. So the next Batgirl series was a mini-series, and this one gets this one did not go well. So they had begun having Cassandra Cain as a bad person, bad guy, and then they tried to use this miniseries to do some mental and just all kinds of craziness and say, oh, well, she was poisoned and it affected her mind and now she's off the poison, and there's a huge long dialogue box explaining why, oh no, she's not a bad guy, that was just her being poisoned or something. So, but anyway, we got Batgirl 1, and that one goes through 6 right there. Then we have, drag this over here, we have the next Batgirl series, which starts off as part of Batman Reborn. We start off not knowing who it's going to be. Spoiler, it's the returned spoiler. It is spoiler, in fact. It is Stephanie Brown, and she is the new Batgirl here. So that's issue 1, and that becomes more obvious. Oh, focus. By the time we get to Batgirl 4 with the blonde hair. This is a really good series. Lots of people enjoyed this series. It's got issue 5 right there, and this is also during the Tim Drake as Red Robin period of time. So he's teaming up with her here. Of course, they are former boyfriend, girlfriend. Got an early DC cover for Artgerm. He did several covers for this. So if you're an Artgerm fan, you might want to look into this series. So we've got issue 9, that cover. Also issue 11 with Batgirl up against a Man-Bat. I always say a Man-Bat because I'm not convinced there's only one Man-Bat, because he flips his good, bad so much. I just feel like there's more than one. Let's see. We got a big boy book of number 12. I think it's because of the Artgerm cover there is very popular. People are probably familiar with that. That's 12. Where is... Oh, okay. Alright, hang on. I got 13 right there. Going up against Clayface. And then I didn't really do this the way I normally do things, but we got issue 14, which is I think again, because of the Artgerm doing Supergirl in this one. Right there. And then actually going back to that little pack, we've got number 16. Not a Artgerm cover, but she's a fugitive. And 16. Let's see. And finally, we've got issue 17 from that month that all the covers were like this with a white background and the figure just jumping out at you. We're into 2011, so things are going to get cut short because we're about to have the new 52. And so yes, Batgirl 24, final issue. All of the friends that she's made along the way. A really cool sequence at the end that shows all of the concepts that the writer had for upcoming issues that they were going to do, that they just didn't get around to because they got canceled, because everything got canceled for the new 52. So really interesting issue to pick up. All right, so that is all of that box. Okay, so that is box 19. The next box will be box 20, which will finish up Batgirl, and we will start to get into what is for me some early Batman. I don't go back to Silver Age that much, but but some Bronze Age Batman. So I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you again. Have a great day.